Yesterday, the City of Los Angeles City Council voted unanimously to say corporations are not people, money is not speech, and we encourage our elected representatives to pass a constitutional amendment to strip corporations of those rights. Corporations, Walmart, for example, on various occasions, hog farms, waste disposal plants, they've claimed 14th Amendment rights to say we're being discriminated against because we're a person. If the community says no, the tobacco companies, asbestos companies have used Fourth and Fifth Amendment protection and self-incrimination rights to keep their crimes from us. And of course, the First Amendment right of free speech that is right at the core of Citizens United and whatnot. So, step by step. And one of those steps has been taken by Congressman Keith Ellison, who's on the line with us, ellison.house.gov, of course, his website, the congressman from the 5th District of Minnesota. Congressman, welcome to the program. Welcome back to the program.
Always good to be on with you, Tom. How you doing?
Just great. It is great to have you with us. Congressman, you are an attorney.
Yep.
And so I'm sure you're familiar with the difference between a natural person and an artificial person, going all the way back to the 6th century in British common law.
Absolutely. I have a passing familiarity. See, mostly natural persons, they love, they sometimes hate, they have a body that you can jail, they have a soul that you can save. Those are the clues you can go by.
Yeah, there you go. And artificial persons are basically governments and corporations and churches.
Yep.
And so you have proposed an amendment that would do what?
4 things. And 1, declare that corporations are not people. 2, state that we have a compelling state interest, a compelling public interest to prevent corruption among elected officials. 3, that the ability reinstates Congress's ability, along with states, to regulate funds used for political activity by for-profit corporations and similar entities. And then the last one, 4, makes clear that no part of the amendment abridges the freedom of the press. So, 1, corporations are people. 2, we have a compelling public interest in making sure we don't have corrupt public officials who could be corrupted by money from corporations. 3, Congress can regulate these people. And 4, this does not affect freedom of the press.
Yeah. And in fact, reading from your amendment here, because of the compelling public interest in preventing corruption and the appearance of corruption among elected officials, and because corporations and other business organizations are not natural persons or citizens. I got to say, God bless you for that, sir, because there are, as you, I'm sure you know, I'm sure you've been lobbied on this, there are a number of groups, organizations, and people, some of them very well-intentioned, and some of them, I think, maybe working on the other side, who are saying, oh, we don't need to deal with this corporate personhood issue. What we really just need to do is get the money out of politics. And I'm saying, getting money out of politics.
The heart of the issue.
Yeah, getting money out of politics is nice, but let's pull this weed out by the roots.
Yeah, let's rip it out and say that, first of all, the history on corporate personhood is actually not very old. I mean, these people basically gained their personhood status on the backs of newly freed slaves.
Yeah.
They basically wedged their way in on the 14th Amendment when they got the Supreme Court, which was still sort of an antebellum Supreme Court, to sort of to say that they're persons.
Yeah.
To recognize them as having the rights thereof. There was a time when a corporate charter was a big deal. It had to be for the public interest. It had a very limited duration. And if they didn't serve that public interest, they had their corporate charter yanked.
Yeah, I wrote the first book on this, and it's actually now
taught me this.
On equal protection. And I was amazed, because I wanted to do research based on original sources. Everybody does. It's easy to write a book based on other people's books, but I was going to do all original sources. And so I went down in Vermont. This was in 1999, and I went into this Supreme Court building, which is older than our country. Vermont was a nation before it joined the rest of the Union.
Yep. And
said to Mr. Donovan, to Paul Donovan, the librarian, and he's also an attorney. I said, I'd like to see that 1886 case where corporations became people. And he said, oh, you mean Santa Clara County versus Southern Pacific Railroad? He pulls it out, gives it to me. I flipped through it, and I read the case. It's like 16 pages long. Read it all the way through, and I said, I can't find anything in here where it says corporations are people. And he was like, well, it's got to be in there. I learned that in law school. And so he's flipping around and he says, well, let's look at the head note.
Right.
And so we look at the head note, and here's the head note. It says corporations are persons under the 14th Amendment and entitled to equal protection. And I'm like, where'd that, and he's like, where'd that come from? And that's, I got that into my book, that the court actually never ruled that corporations are people, that the clerk of the court wrote that, and he was a railroad president before he was the clerk of the court.
And they totally shoehorned their way into the position they have now from a legal standpoint.
Yeah.
And now, we talk about like Frankenstein, this is a monster we can't control,
Yeah.
This thing was designed, originally intended to be something that would serve the public interest, and now its only dedication is to serve its own selfish private interest and that of the shareholder, and to the detriment or disregard of the public interest.
Right. Well, and arguably since the I think it was the 30s, Dodge v. Ford in the Michigan Supreme Court, that's been pretty much kind of accepted the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. So Congressman Ellison, this is a House resolution, joint resolution. I don't see a number on it here.
Should be one there. Let me. Okay, we don't have a number yet. Well, I'll get you one as soon as we can.
Okay, well, that's fine.
But we did drop it, and it's in, and we should have a number real quick.
Cool. So people can call, and they can call their members of Congress and just say, hey, sign on with Keith Ellison on this thing about corporate personhood.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
Well, the thing is that, this I was obviously aware of this whole mess before Citizens United. When I was in the Minnesota State Legislature, of course, I got exposed to your work, but then also there's a state legislator in Minnesota named Bill Hilty who turned me on to the idea of, the problem of corporate personhood. Mm-hmm. And so this is a long-term and enduring problem that you kind of were, kind of been heralding for many years, but now it has just gotten to the point where it's just really absurd. I mean, the corporate entity is like the most powerful entity in the world we live in, and it's surpassed the power of the state.
In Greece and in Italy, they have taken down the elected prime ministers and replaced them with appointed banksters.
Oh my goodness! See, you got problems then.
Yeah, and in Michigan they did the same. Governor Snyder did the same thing with the city of Benton Harbor.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, that is shocking, is it not? I mean, in Benton Harbor, they have said that they have the authority to enforce the law. They are going to usurp people's rights, and let me tell you, this is a foreshadowing of things to come unless we get wise right now and do something about this corporate personhood problem.
Yeah.
So it's time to move a constitutional amendment. I believe that this Occupy movement, which is a great thing in my view, has the power to really raise this issue and to make politicians do the right thing.
Yep.
I believe that. But we've really got to raise the roof on it, because without a massive movement, these guys are just going to keep on rolling.
Right. So, in essence, what we're trying to do is put the word natural before the word person in the 14th Amendment. Yeah. And this is a way to do it. And the way for all of our listeners and all of our viewers to participate is to call their member of the House of Representatives. Everybody has one, and they're 2 senators, and say, get on board with Keith Ellison's proposal or his amendment to the Constitution to strip corporations of their personhood rights.
Yep, that's it.
Okay, we got it. We're on it. Congressman Keith Ellison, ellison.house.gov for all the information. Thank you for the great work you're doing, sir, and thank you for being on our program today.
Keep it up.
You betcha. Great to see you. Great to have you with us. Thank you.